I was going to do a joke about being horny, but maybe I'd better not.
Oh no, feels like I'm split down the middle. Don't know which way to go.
Hey everybody, this is James. I'm in Weatherford, Texas for work this weekend, and this is like the 10th time I've had to do this because I keep forgetting that I have a camera in my hand. Okay, it's a little different than the way I normally do it, but I figured I have a big mirror in front of me, why not take advantage of it? Let me give you a look at my room real quick. They gave me a double for the same price. I don't know why. I could either get a king on the second floor or a double on the ground floor. I said, well, hey, if I can get on the ground floor, that'd be great. So they gave me the double. Got storage wars going on, which I don't know. Don't copyright claim me, damn it. But okay, the thing is, I was gonna do. There's an old train station here in Weatherford, and I was gonna try and do like I did in Dublin. I'm sorry, I keep looking to make sure I'm holding the camera. I was gonna do like I did in Dublin and just kind of lurk around, see if I could, if there happened to be a door open, at least poke my head through some windows, something like that. And got to Heritage Park where I'm working, closing up for the day, and of course in the last few minutes this guy walks up and decides to camp out and browse everything in the world and go on for 30 minutes talking about how lazy kids today are. And so I got out of there late, rushed around, got everything packed up, got over there, and the thing is being used. There's a business that's actually in the old train station, so it's not vacant. They're actually still there. They weren't off work yet, so that's the way that goes. I'm trying to get things worked out where I have like regular things that I do, and of course the paranormal investigations that I do with What the Paranormal, they'll just be whenever we can get to them. I'm going to go ahead and start doing Walking Dead stuff on Monday. I want to have one other regular thing, like the main thing. And so I thought, well, what else can I do? Oh wow, okay. It looks really cool over here. Okay, Amy would love this. I don't know what you're seeing right now, but looking in my little viewfinder thing, that looks like a giant orb right there. But it's just a reflection off of something. But that is a good segue, because what I decided to do is I've been thinking about, I'm no expert at paranormal investigation, but I think I've been doing it long enough that I can hand some basic knowledge over to newcomers. And I wish I had something to set this camera on. Because that's just awkward. It's got nothing to do with me being lazy. Okay, hopefully this is going to work. I don't know if that's making too much noise. I didn't turn it off for the moment. Okay. I forgot where I was. I think I know enough that I can hand down some basic information to people just starting out in the paranormal, wanting to go out and do paranormal research or ghost hunting, if you will. So I kind of have 5 basics. Now I know most of the people that subscribe have come to this channel from What's Paranormal. You don't need to know any of this, but just in case somebody else comes along, or if there's something you want to add, there's always the comment section. Or maybe if you disagree, chime in. But this is just in case there's anybody out there that has never done it before and they want to get started. Okay, 5 basic things you need to know, or things you need to keep in mind whenever you do paranormal research. Okay, number 1, patience. Be patient about what you're doing. It can, and I blame a lot of this on the TV shows, like Ghost Hunters and Ghost Adventures. Now, I loved Ghost Hunters. I watched every episode of Ghost Hunters. Ghost Adventures, not so much. And then there's some of those other shows that are just complete crap. I blame it on the TV shows. They take an investigation and chop it down into an hour-long show, or even 30-minute segments. It's not even really 30 minutes by the time you figure in commercials and stuff. You're talking 15, 20 minutes. You can go somewhere and spend 3, 4, 5 hours and not get anything. Holy crap. Sorry, I'm being distracted by the TV. You can go do an investigation and you might be out there 3, 4, 5 hours and not get anything. Many times. As a matter of fact, one of the EVP things I've done before, for those of you that remember the squeaky toy, the dog toy, that sound that came, we were getting nothing that night. And I know we had, and this was in a fairly small house, we spent 3 hours at least and was getting nothing, and finally just literally at the last minute got that dog toy noise. And sometimes you can do investigations and not get anything. Don't give up on it because of that. It takes a long time. You can go several investigations and not get anything. It's a little like fishing. Okay, the difference between a fisherman and somebody that wants to catch fish. Somebody that wants to catch fish, they go out once, catch nothing, and then they don't want to do it anymore. A fisherman, well, he might not catch anything for months, but still goes out. Okay, that's kind of paranormal investigation. You may not catch anything forever, but you still go out because it's out there. And it just makes it that much sweeter when you do get something. When you do get that holy crap piece of evidence, that EVP, that maybe that picture. I have not had much luck with pictures, but it just makes it that much better. Okay, number 2, equipment. Don't feel the need to go spend a ton of money on a bunch of gadgets. They're nice to have sometimes, but in all honesty, my ghost hunting equipment consists of a couple of voice recorders, which I haven't used one in a long time. Really, one will do most of the time. The K2, that camera that I'm talking into right now, a still picture camera, which I don't even have that. I didn't even get that for ghost hunting. Got that for something else. I use it with the ghost hunting. And what else? Oh, flashlight. That's it. Fuck. Oh, fuck. Sorry. Okay. Sorry, there's going to be a lot of editing in this because I should have turned that TV off. Oh, Mary. Sweetie. Okay, 2 things. Just to step just so you'll know why I'm being distracted. Got storage wars still on TV. I'm going to have to get up and turn that off if I keep doing it. But 2 things about storage wars. Mary Pattian is a cutie pie. Dave, whatever the hell his name is, just needs his ass whipped. The guy. Okay, anyway, alright. Okay. I turned it off, so it stopped distracting me. Okay, yeah, equipment. You don't need hundreds of dollars worth of equipment. When I started, I had a camera and a flashlight. No, actually, I didn't even have a camera. I had a flashlight. And we would just go out and see if we felt anything. And as a matter of fact, that's my phone. That brings up a good point. Starting out, don't use any equipment. Maybe a voice recorder, just so you'll have something to present to other people to show, hey, you know, maybe you did get something. Because a voice recorder, unless you're going to sit there and kind of constantly stop and rewind and listen, which I don't recommend either, you don't really get anything out of that until after it's over. Just go out and try to hone your senses a little bit. Start to get used to how something feels. Because after a while, I remember years ago, before I even got into all this, a friend of mine had this house. The back room was like a back porch that had been enclosed and turned into a spare room. There was a spirit back there, and I saw it. I was sitting in the living room one day, and where I was sitting, you could look through the kitchen into that room, and I saw somebody walk from left to right past the door. I'm the only one that saw it. And so when I said, who's in that back room? He said, should nobody be in that back room? We got up to look, and of course didn't see anybody. And so, you're drunk. No, I hadn't drank nothing. But when we would go back into, before that, when we would go back into that back room, we'd go back there and play cards and stuff. There was a big group of us, and we'd go, play quarters or whatever. I would feel that presence back there, but I didn't know anything. I didn't know what it was. It just feels kind of weird back here. Now I know what it is. So just go out, let your senses take over, then start using some of the gadgets. But you don't really need all that other stuff. I would recommend something along the lines of what I have. A voice recorder is good. A K2 is nice. You don't need it. And it's not always proof of anything. It can tell you the possible place where a spirit is picking up. Sometimes we are able to get it to communicate with something. Doesn't always work. You need cooperation with everything. You need cooperation with whoever's there. But a voice recorder is nice to have, a camera, and a flashlight. And you don't even need a video camera, a still picture camera. Those three things. And that's all you really need. Some of this other stuff, the ghost box that they've got, I don't even know what, I remember they were coming up with just all kinds of things at the peak of the whole ghost hunting popularity thing. That Lainey from What's Paranormal, she's got an app on her phone, which is pretty cool. Don't know if it costs anything or not. But don't put yourself in debt getting stuff. Okay, number 3. During the investigation, don't whisper. Lainey. We pick on Lainey because she's really bad about it. I do it too. I think everybody does it. You kind of, something happens, you kind of speak in a hushed tone. It's just natural to do that, but try not to whisper. If you got the voice, especially if you got a voice recorder going, or a video camera, or anything that's going to pick up sound. Because then when you go back to review that evidence, especially on a voice recorder, it is a pain in the butt. Okay, I'll pick on somebody besides Laney. My cousin has gone out, me and him have gone out with another group. That's been a few years ago. He was really bad about talking to himself. And he'd be over there, and he was the one that had the video camera at the time, so he was the one, that set it all up, and he'd be over there, he'd go, man, kill it. Just get this over here. I don't want it. Well, I had the voice recorder, so when I was going over the voice recorder, especially if I was not necessarily in the room with him at the time, we sitting there and rewind, listen. And I finally figured out, okay, that's just him talking to the camera, or talking to himself. It makes it really hard to tell what is evidence and what is just somebody over there talking. And sometimes you try to mark it. I'll lump this in together with the don't whisper. If you do whisper, and we've been really bad about this too, me and Amy and Lady, we do not mark our stuff very well. If you do whisper or you make a noise or do something that could be mistaken for evidence later, mark it. Say, hey, I just farted, or or I stepped on such and such, or whatever it is. I banged my knee and went, oh, whatever it is, you mark it somehow on the recording, so then whoever's listening can go, oh, that was Bob, breaking wind. Just be mindful of the fact that when you speak, it's going to be a lot easier for whoever reviews the recordings or the video if you don't whisper. Speak out loud. It's okay. There's no reason to whisper. There's no reason to keep secrets from anybody else that's there. It's not like you're going to offend the ghosts. Speak out loud. If you see something, say, hey, what is that over there? What's that over there? Just speak out loud. Okay, number 4. Not everything is paranormal. Not every bump, bang, twitch, snap, creep, splish, splash, taking a bath that you hear is something paranormal. Old houses creak. Even new houses can make some noise sometimes. The wind can blow, and there can be coyotes off in the background, and there can be, all kinds of noises. Don't create evidence in your head. If you truly have no explanation for why there is a noise, or something you see, then maybe it could be something. I'm very big on the when in doubt, throw it out rule. Recently at Spanish Ford, we had all kinds of things going on out there.
Can you hear that gunfire?
There's people off in the background shooting guns off. There's coyotes howling. There's cows on one side and horses on the other, and a skunk spraying. And of course, it's October, and so, late October, so there's stuff falling out of the trees, and what sounded like a couple of ducks at one point. So we had to keep all of that in mind. Like I said, we heard people yelling. Now some of those, like the mom thing, it sounded like somebody saying mom. There was another one that sounded like somebody saying whoa, which picked up a lot clearer on the audio than when I heard it while we were out there. it raised an eyebrow. But with all those people out there shooting guns, if they were shooting at coyotes or wild hogs, or if they were just out there shooting empty bottles because it was somebody's birthday or whatever, it could have been somebody off in the distance. Of course, the wind was blowing kind of from that direction too, so sound was carrying a little stronger, and you have to write stuff like that off just because there were people out there somewhere. Yeah, there's what they call pareidolia. It's when you see a pattern or a shape that isn't really there. Kind of like, well, okay, you know how the front of some cars will kind of look like two big eyes and a big smile on the grill? You know, the grill will make it look like a smile. Or stuff like that. It's just seeing a pattern, and so you see a face or you see something else that isn't really there. And sometimes that's all it is. So sometimes when somebody sees a face in the background or something, it's not really a face, it's just the way the light is hitting a certain object. On video it might be the fact that it's not very high definition. I don't upload myself in high definition because that little 5-minute video I did, the 5-minute nothing video I did at Second Monday took like 4 hours to upload. Okay, so a longer video like the Parker House investigation, or that dreadful favorite wrestlers thing that I did, when they're 30 and 40 and 50 minutes long, I can't tie up my computer for 2 days upload a video. So I put it on the lower resolution. And sometimes I can, especially when you do a lot of video at night, it can create patterns and you see things that just aren't there. If I can find it, there's a great example of pareidolia. I'm going to see if I can find that picture. I'm going to be playing it over this part right here. And if I can't find it, maybe I can find another one. But I want you to look at that picture really hard. Pause the video if you have to. Take a good long look at the picture. And at the end of the video, I'll come back to it. Okay, but to get back to, not everything is paranormal. You hear a sound, go check it out. Make sure, if you're investigating in a house, check around the outside of the house. Are there trees nearby? Is there a tree rubbing on the roof? Are they having plumbing problems? Anything that can create any kind of noise. The door is shut really good. How close are their neighbors? Do they keep animals outside? Take all of that into consideration before declaring that every noise you hear must be a ghost. Might not necessarily be. Okay, outside investigations, like I say, you got to keep all of that in mind. Be aware of your surroundings. Keep in mind when if you're out near the woods and what kind of animals are in the area. If you've got owls or coyotes or rednecks, or I just keep thinking about the Spanish Fort investigation. Think about everything that's around you before declaring something paranormal, and really, honestly, if you care about if you care at all about the legitimacy of paranormal investigation, you won't just jump to declare anything and everything as paranormal, because there are some people out there that put out stuff to just make it look stupid. It does nothing to help the legitimacy of paranormal investigation. It makes us all look silly. So just keep all of that in mind. Okay, finally, number 5, safety. Be careful. And okay, before I go any further on this, if you do anything, any of this, if you do it differently, I'm not knocking you. As I said at the beginning of it, you may disagree with some of it. You may have your own ideas. This is my 5 rules. If you want to disagree with them, that's fine. But more important than anything, I'm not casting stones at anybody. Okay, I'm not making fun of anybody. I'm not saying you're doing it wrong. I'm just saying everybody does it differently. So part of safety to me is don't go out by yourself investigating. And it's not necessarily just because of what could happen. 99.9% of spirits, I believe, are just people. And of course, there's always that 1/10%. But it's not just dealing with the spirits that could be dangerous. It's dealing with people, dealing with animals. If you fall and get hurt, just take your own safety and the safety of anybody that might be with you into consideration. And then to top it all off, when you are investigating, in my opinion, it's always best to have another set of eyes, another set of ears, just in case you do see something or you do hear something. Not everything picks up on the voice recorder. Sometimes you pick up things on the voice recorder that you didn't hear at the time. So having that extra set of eyes and ears to confirm, yeah, that's when we heard such and such, or no, we didn't hear that at all. That helps with your evidence as well. And kind of along with the safety thing, I guess 5B, don't get above your pay grade. And what I mean by that is know your limitations. Amy and Laney had brought up before, there is an old cemetery with a church in this area, in our area, not this area, but in around Nocona. I forgot for a second I was in Weatherford. But it's an old cemetery with a church on it, and there was apparently some Satan worshipers that would go into that old church sometimes. And there were bad things that happened in that church. Very bad things that happened in that church. And I know someone who something got a hold of him, followed him for months after that, and eventually took control of him. And luckily he was able to get to somebody to help him that same night, and he hasn't had a problem with it since. But that could have turned very bad. So just because you know, oh, this is where, that's why I hate to hear somebody, well, apparently they did some devil worshiping out there. I don't want to go. I'll back out, and you want to call me a chicken, you want to call me a coward, whatever, I don't care. I don't have nothing to do with it. That is above my pay grade. If it's something you want to try, educate yourself on how to deal with it. Make sure, do not go by yourself to a place like that. Educate yourself on how to deal with it before you go. Make sure you know what you're doing. And if at all possible, get somebody that is far more experienced than you are to go with you. And there was another point I was going to make, and I can't remember what it was. Damn, what was it? There was something else I was going to say and I forgot what it was. Oh well. Boom! Started the magic of editing. I remembered what that last thing was. This is actually the next day. I have showered and shaven, but I'm still tired because it's still the end of my work day right now. The other thing I was going to bring up was it was be prepared for criticism. Okay, well, I'll say even if you are just getting this for yourself and you're going to show it to friends or your online community if it's through YouTube or something else, be prepared for various different kinds of criticism. Now, the people that do not believe in it, that just nothing you say is going to even allow them to consider the possibility that there are paranormal activities going on, or that there are spirits walking among us, or that there are ghosts out there, however you want to put it. Just don't worry about it, because I became convinced a long time ago, when you have somebody who absolutely does not believe in it, the only thing that is going to convince them is for them to have their own experience that they can't explain. So just don't worry about it. I wouldn't spend time arguing with them. Put your case out there. If they want to disagree with it, then just say, well, that's your opinion, and move on. But you're also going to get criticism from people who are believers and who do their own paranormal investigations. I used to go to a forum, paranormal forum. And at the time, the whole reason I did it was just to try and get some feedback from people that I did not necessarily know. I'd say, okay, hey, we got this EVP. What do you think of it being said? What do you think about it? And there are people out there that I think they're just, that I think are just selfish. And if they didn't come up with it, then they're just going to go, well, no, I think that's, one of the weirdest criticisms I ever got was on an EVP. Well, that could be somebody else in the room. No shit, Sherlock. Every EVP ever captured by anybody could be somebody else in the room. I'm telling you, I was there. Nobody in the room said that. There was nobody in the room with that kind of voice. This was just picked up on audio. But there are people out there that actually do paranormal investigation. They just absolutely refuse to accept anybody else's evidence. And that's the way that forum turned out to be. Is if you presented something, oh no, it's this, it's that, it's something else. I tell them, I don't care if you believe it or not. I'm just asking what you think. What do you hear? Just entertain me for a second, humor me for a second, and what do you hear? And some of them would, they had your little clique in there that they would all back each other up. But you're going to get criticism. But just don't worry about it, and just stay true to what you do. Don't take that criticism and think, well, I got to hit a home run now. I got to come up with something big for. Don't worry about it. Just do what you do. Anyway, I think if you're just starting out and you stick to those 5 basic rules, I think it will give you a better experience, and in the long run help you become a better investigator, in my opinion. Others may disagree, and if you disagree, as I said before, you're welcome to do so. I'm really tired now, and so I'm going to get a shower and a shave and finish my beverage and get ready to go back to work tomorrow. If you're already a subscriber, I appreciate you sticking with me. Thanks for watching the video. I appreciate all the comments and and likes that have been getting. Oh, by the way, on a non-off topic, but a channel related note, the Parker House investigation, that's my first video to go over 1,000 views. So whatever that means. But it has rather quickly become the most watched video I have. And on another note, on a not totally unrelated note, I was just looking at the analytics thing the other day. Apparently, this channel is very popular in Tunisia. So hello, Tunisia. I wish I knew more to say about that than that, but hello, Tunisia. As I said, if you're already a subscriber, I appreciate you watching. If you're new, check out the other videos, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Cheers. Okay, just real quick, this is the picture. Actually, this is not the picture I was thinking of at the time in the video. I could not find that picture, but this is actually a really good one too. If you take a look at this, obviously it looks like a rather scary looking old woman peeking out from something. What that actually is just a yellow folder, and that's basically two bags, one bag inside of another. There's a yellow folder stuck inside the bag, and the shadows from the handles of the bag are creating this illusion that looks like a face. So there you go. There's our illusion of the day. Goodbye.